We finished up with division, and now we're going to work with negative numbers. I know that in your classes you've already seen how to add and subtract with integers, positive and negative whole numbers. However, what your teachers have told me is that this is a skill you need more practice with. So that's what we're going to do this week. Let's review the rules. An integer is a positive or negative whole number. -5, -100, 42. These are all integers. When we add integers, what we want to consider is which number is greater, the positive amount or the negative amount. That's where the sign of our answer is going to come from. Then we just find the difference between the two numbers, or say how much more of one do I have than another. We do that by subtracting. Let's look at some examples. In -5 plus 7, my signs are different. What that means is that one's positive and one's negative. Positive and negative are our signs. If the signs are different, you find the difference between the two numbers. So in your head, you subtract. You'll do 7, come on, 7 minus 5 is 2, and then you keep the sign of the greater number. The greater number is 7, and it's positive, so my answer is positive 2. If you think about this using real life terms, this is like saying you owe me $5, you owe me $5, but let's say you pay me 7, you overpaid me by positive $2. If money you have is positive and money you owe is negative, then you overpaid me by $2. Let's do another one. 20 plus -15. My signs are different because this one's positive and this one's negative. If the signs are different, find the difference between the two numbers, or subtract. So I'm going to do 20 minus 15 is 5, and then I keep the sign of the greater number. 20 is greater than 15, and it's positive, so that means this should be a positive 5. Let's get one more for adding. -7 plus -9. And if you see parentheses, don't worry about that. Those are just placeholders so that you know this is a negative sign and not a subtraction sign. If the signs are the same, you just add them up and keep the sign of the numbers. So this is you borrow $7 from me, you borrow 9 more, you owe me money. Negative plus more negative is negative. And then you just add. 7 plus 9 is 16. So -7 plus -9 is -16. The biggest mistake I see you guys making is you think, oh, a negative and a negative is a positive. Those are the multiply and divide rules. So be very careful that you're not confusing your rules. If you borrow money, then you borrow more money. You owe money. It doesn't just automatically become a positive number. Let's talk about subtracting. Subtracting with a negative is the same thing as adding more negative. Taking money away is the same as adding negatives. So when you see a subtraction problem with negative numbers, we want to change it to addition. The way we do this is with keep, change, change. You should have heard these rules in your math classes before. Let's take a look. If I have 6 minus 14, this is saying I have $6, I spend 14. I didn't have 14 to spend, that's like you swiped your credit card, and now you owe the bank. So, to figure this out, we do keep, change, change. There are 3 steps and 3 pieces in this problem. You keep the first piece, you change subtract to addition, and then you change a positive 14 to negative 14. Now we just follow our adding rules because I changed it to an addition problem. This is positive, this is negative. My signs are different, so I find the difference. 14 minus 6 is 8, and I keep the sign of the greater number. The greater number is 14, and it's negative, so this is -8. You have $6 in your bank account, you swipe your credit card and spend 14, you owe the bank $8. Let's take a look at another one. -11 minus 5. we want to change this to an addition problem by using keep, change, change. Keep the first number, change subtract to add, and then change the sign of the second number. It's positive, so I want to make it negative. When you add and the signs are the same, you just add the numbers and keep the sign. 11 plus 5 is 16, so negative 11 plus negative 5 is negative 16. Let's look at another. 15 minus negative 7. I'm subtracting with negatives, so I want to change this to an addition problem. Keep, change subtract to add, and change the sign of this number to positive 7. So now what I have is 15 plus positive 7, or 15 plus 7. Look, this is like what you learned in first grade. 15 plus 7 is 22. Nothing crazy. Positive plus positive is more positive. One more. Negative 14 minus negative 9. That might be hard to see, so I'll rewrite it up here. I'm subtracting, I have negatives, I want to change this to an addition problem. Keep the first number, change subtract to add, and change the sign of this one to positive 9. Negative 14 plus 9. I'm adding and my signs are different, so I need to find the difference, which means subtract. 14 minus 9 is 5. And I need to keep the sign of the greater number. The greater number is 14, so this should be negative because my 14 was negative. Negative 14 plus 9 is negative 5. Or you owe me $14, you pay me back 9, you still owe me 5. Now it's your turn to practice.